And UN ambassadors criticized Israel's plan to occupy Gaza City, with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu defending the move as the best way to end the conflict. The federal government says it has secured 3 convictions and is currently prosecuting over 30 cases in various courts across the country relating to illicit activities in the hydrocarbon sector. This was made known by the CSP Omar Sini, the leader of the Special Prosecution Team of the Interagency Task Force, recently inaugurated by the federal government to investigate and prosecute illicit activities in the hydrocarbon sector, while conducting journalists around an illegal crude oil dump site in Rivers State. Our correspondent Charles Oporum reports.
While this compound in the Oyibo local government area of Rivers State may appear ordinary from the outside, it hides a secret: an illicit crude oil dump site. This seemingly nondescript location is a key part of the illegal activities plaguing the hydrocarbon sector. Operatives of the Special Prosecution Team uncover a suspected illegal petroleum product site amid ongoing hydrocarbon sector investigation.
You told us you're also mandating in your premises that this is my pipe. I told you I'm not aware of that product.
You are not aware of this product.
The leader of the Special Prosecution Team conducts journalists on a tour, revealing that the team has arrested 1 woman and 2 accomplices in connection with the illegal crude oil dump site. He adds that the team is currently prosecuting others involved in the illicit activities.
At least 108 suspects have been remanded in prison custody across the Niger Delta State and the FCT. Since we started, out of the at least 120 active cases that we've started, we've gotten 2 convictions, and we have 38 cases ongoing at trial level, while quite a number are still at investigation level.
The leader of the prosecution team notes a significant increase in the nation's oil production, while pointing out that this exponential rise has occurred since the task force created to combat illicit activities in the hydrocarbon sector was officially inaugurated. Sacks upon sacks upon sacks, storing what is believed to be petroleum products illegally in this facility here in Oyibo local government area of Rivers State. They've just been busted by the Special Prosecution Team set up by the federal government to look into crimes like this of an economic nature. Now, we understand that 3 people have been arrested in connection with this illegal operation ongoing here. It's estimated that 60,000 liters are contained in these sacks just behind me. And of course, the government is determined to stamp out illegal crude oil theft in the Niger Delta. How soon is this going to happen? We don't know, but we know that this team is currently prosecuting multiple cases in court of this nature. From Oyibo local government area in Rivers State, Charles Oporum, Channels Television News.
In the meantime, the Nigeria police says that it has recorded a significant legal victory with the conviction of 21 foreign nationals involved in a high-profile cybercrime syndicate uncovered in Abuja in November 2024. The police had on November the 3rd last year raided a building located at Jai, Abuja. The operation, which was part of a broader cybercrime crackdown, resulted in the arrest of 130 suspects, comprising 113 foreign nationals, predominantly of Chinese and Malaysian origin, and 17 Nigerian collaborators. A statement issued by the Force Public Relations Officer, Force Headquarters, Olumuyiwa Adejobi, says the suspects were arraigned in court on December the 2nd, 2024, and as of the 1st of this month, 2025, 21 of the accused have been convicted and sentenced by the competent court of jurisdiction. The statement adds that the prosecution of the remaining defendants continues, with the police working closely with the Ministry of Justice to ensure full accountability. The management of the Green Legacy Hotel, an arm of the Olusegun Obasanjo Presidential Library, is demanding an explanation and a formal apology from the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, that's the EFCC, following a raid on its premises. According to a statement from the hotel's managing director, Vitalis Orteze, about 50 armed EFCC operatives stormed the complex around 2 a.m. The statement alleges that the operatives fired shots, causing panic and leading to injuries as people fled. It also claims that the EFCC team leader reportedly told Mr. Oteze they were acting on intelligence about a private event at the complex's amusement facility. And additional police from the Kempta police station confirmed they had no prior knowledge of the operation and that the EFCC presented no warrant. The OOPL management is now demanding an explanation for what it describes as an infringement on its rights and is seeking a formal apology for the injured guests and everyone affected by the incident. In Taraba, the state government, through the State Emergency Management Agency, has provided relief materials to at least 5,000 persons displaced following bandit attacks in Usa local government area of the state. A visit to the community by the state government to help distribute relief materials to the displaced persons comes with a sigh of relief and a call for enhanced security as the state government assures them of resettling the people.
Since 2017, gunmen suspected to be bandits have been launching attacks on communities in Usa local government area of Taraba state, leading to the death of over 500 persons. 5,000 persons are said to have been displaced in over 80 communities, leading to humanitarian crisis as they have abandoned their farms, ancestral homes, and are now taking refuge either in schools, worship centers, or living with their relatives in other villages.
Out of 8 wards that we have in Usa local government, only one that was not affected. So across the 7 wards, prior to last year, this road from Takum to Usa has been, it's like a death trap. They almost on daily basis, 1 or 2 people have been killed.
To mitigate the sufferings of the victims and ensure that the humanitarian crisis does not escalate, the Taraba State Emergency Management Agency is providing these relief materials directly to the victims without middlemen. With NEMA and NDDC playing complementary roles, the state government promises to resettle the victims once the security situation improves.
His Excellency, Dr. Abu Kepas, is fully sympathized with them, and he asks us to tell them that they should exercise patience. We have our team, Local Emergency Management Committee. They are taking care of them, and His Excellency is fully sympathized with them. That is why he sent us to come with a relief material, but we are preparing for another one.
The victims are appreciative of the state government's efforts as they look forward to being resettled.
Since they attack us in our community, we are no more longer going to farm again. We are suffering from hungry in this area. So as the state government brought us food stuff, we are appreciating them for what they have done for us.
With the state government reaffirming its unwavering commitment to ensuring peace returns to all affected communities, the victims appeal to the federal and state government to enhance security in their domains.
In Yobe, the state government, in collaboration with the African Field Epidemiology Network, is set to implement safety and antimicrobial resistance of mass administration of azithromycin Sarman 2 project for children between 1 to 59 months of age. The Commissioner for Health, Dr. Mohamed Lawan Gana, disclosed this at the inauguration of the project's 23-man steering committee in Damaturu, the state capital. The committee, which is to meet quarterly, is saddled with the responsibility of reviewing implementation progress, address emerging challenges, coordinate, and then ensure delivery of the project's objectives.
According to the 2024 National Demographic and Health Survey, Yobe State has an under 5 mortality rate of 154 per 1,000 live births. In order to reverse the trend, stakeholders in the health sector are introducing measures that will protect children between 1 to 59 months of age.
The Sarman 2 project is going to be implemented across all the local governments in Yobe State. utilizing the polio structures. And I think the last I saw with the data from Katsina, we had achieved 94% coverage. We want to get to 100% coverage in Yobe State.
This marks another milestone in our collective commitment to reducing child mortality and morbidity. Yobe State is privileged to be among the 11 states selected for this important scale-up initiative. The State Steering Committee is being established to provide leadership, oversight, and strategic direction for the implementation of the Sarman 2 project in Yobe.
Some donor partners are, however, expressing concerns over the proliferation of substandard drugs in the Nigerian market, as they call on the government to take strong action.
The thing that maybe you have to put in mind is the problem of substandard drugs. I think there was a research that was conducted that 70% of our drugs in Nigeria are fake. Recently, I'm a victim of this fake drug. Recently, just less than 2 weeks. They are compounding the resistance incidents, because I'm sure your finding will really tell us how this thing has been really very devastating.
It's also one of the mandates of UNICEF to also tackle the drivers of fatalities and morbidities, and also for the mothers also. And on this note, we have a very mutual and professional working relationship.
The project, which is to be implemented across the 17 local government areas of the state, will rely on the support of religious and traditional leaders to reduce the high rate of under-5 child mortality in the state.
Nigeria is getting out of its fake and counterfeit drug crisis that has led to great distrust in the country's healthcare system. The Chief Executive Officer of the Pharmacy Council of Nigeria, Ibrahim Ahmed, was speaking during an exclusive interview with Channels Television. Disagreeing with the position that over 50% of drugs currently in circulation may be counterfeit, he explained the figure is not as high as portrayed.
Certainly we do have, and I'm sure we are getting out of it. Because by the time we get this open drug market, because 60 to 80, almost 80% of what is happening is in those locations. Those locations are not under any regulation. That's the side aspect of it. But one good thing is the memorandum of undertaking they have signed. They have also opened the door for us to now, which of course was signed about 2 months ago, to regularly come in to see what is happening. And for NAFDAC to also come in to also pick their products, perhaps to see what they are actually selling. Before now, it was a no-go area. We now can do this because we have a legislation authorizing us. So they have opened up themselves, and I'm sure they are now also being careful. But to say that it is currently 50%, I'm not sure if it's backed by any study. I've also not seen, because even when that was mentioned, I didn't see it backed up. They just say it may be.
To catch the full interview with Ibrahim Ahmed, please watch Newsnight by 9 p.m. on Monday, August the 11th on all Channels television platforms. In part 2 after the break, Obafemi Awolowo University Ife teams with Osun State Police in urgent search for missing female student Dorcas Osegale. Please stay with us. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, broadcasted live from Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. The Special Prosecution Team of the Interagency Task Force raids an illegal crude oil dump in River State, arrests 3 suspects. The Nigeria Police secures the conviction of 21 foreign nationals involved in a high-profile cybercrime syndicate. Obafemi Awolowo University Ife teams with Osun State Police in urgent search for missing female student Dorcas Osegale. And UN ambassadors criticize Israel's plan to occupy Gaza City, with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu defending the move as the best way to end the conflict. Authorities at the Obafemi Awolowo University Ile-Ife have enlisted the Osun State Police Command in the search for a missing female student, Dorcas Osehale, who has not been seen for 4 days. University spokesperson Abiodun Olariwaju says the chemistry undergraduate with matriculation number CHM 2021-165 was last spotted around 8 p.m. on August the 6th this year near the Ede Road axis of the campus after setting out to buy some food. Repeated calls to her 2 phone lines reportedly failed to connect. Vice-Chancellor of the university, Professor Adebayo Simeon Bamire, is appealing to the police and other security agencies to help intensify efforts to locate her. In a somber display of grief and defiance, hundreds of youth hit the streets of Awka, Anambra State for a candlelight procession to mourn the tragic death of Ifesinachi Onyekesi, a young entrepreneur known as Fish Magnet. The procession was led by social media influencer Martins Vincent Otse, popularly known as Very Dark Man, who condemned the government's handling of insecurity. Speaking at the event, Otse criticized the responses of federal, state and local governments, calling them unsatisfactory, as he demanded more effective and proactive measures to protect the lives and property of all citizens, highlighting the collective sorrow and anger over the loss of a promising young life.
In the quiet glow of candlelight, hundreds of youth gather in Awka to honor the memory of Ifesinachi Onyekesi, an only son, a budding entrepreneur in his late 20s, kidnapped and brutally murdered in Anambra. Leading the solemn march is activist and social media influencer Martins Vincent Otse, known as Very Dark Man, who mobilizes the crowd from Emeka Nyonko Boulevard. Dressed in black, the mourners walk with heavy hearts, demanding action and justice for lives cut short by violence.
Not just Anambra, in Enugu State, the other day, just like this fish market, that's how they take one woman, only son. In Enugu State, in the farms, they rape their women, they rape their young girls. So we are not only talking about this place. This movement we are doing today is to raise awareness on the insecurity around the whole country. For sure.
From Arama, the candle-lit procession winds slowly to the office of the late Ifesinachi Onyekesi. There, mourners pause for a minute's silence. As grief hangs heavy in the air, voices question the government's ability to uphold its security mandate, while heartfelt tributes flow for the young man whose life was cut short.
They said kidnappers killed Fish Magnet, but in actual sense, it is the government that killed Fish Magnet. Nigeria is not a poor country. Nigeria is a very rich country. We have the money to have more policemen with more ammunition, more guns that can protect everybody.
Yes, yes. Going forward, because of the lesson I've learned from today, if my handshake to you lingers for far too long, just know that it is me, worrying, wondering, and hoping that the echoes would last long enough till the day we will meet again.
During the solemn procession, Mr. Ejimofo Okpara, the senior special assistant to Governor Soludo on new media, joins the mourners. He assured the grieving crowd that justice will be served and that all efforts are being made to apprehend those responsible for the tragic death of Ifesinachi Onyekesi.
We are saying that all this has to stop. Everyone who is involved in this kind of dastardly act has to stop now, because they can run, but they cannot run too far from justice. And I'm very sure that our law enforcement agents are very much actively on their trail, and before long, they all shall be brought to justice.
The Anambra State Police Command says it acknowledges the message sent by the youth procession. Criminals will no longer hold sway over Anambra, the southeast, or the nation. The police is also appealing for unity, vigilance, and collective action to reclaim safety and peace for all.
Earlier this week, the National Bureau of Statistics released the official figures on the capital flows to Nigeria in the first quarter of this year, 2025. Foreign capital flows are among the indicators governments use to measure the willingness and confidence investors have in the economic and financial opportunities within a country. Well, tonight, Babajide Ogusao, who is the founder of Leadership by Data and Channels Television's chief data analyst, is right here to look beyond the headlines and share the latest insights from Nigeria's foreign capital inflow report. Babajide, great to have you on the News at 10 again.
Good evening, Ayatollah.
Yes, great to see you. Now, headline capital importation report that was released this week shows there's more foreign capital flows coming into the country. Now, is there any twist to this positive trend, Babajide?
Yes, there's a twist, and I'd like to start from that twist. You know, it's now a dozen years past the decade when the first man that was recorded to have ever married while in space. That happened about this time in 2003. A man was in space, a Russian, Yuri Malachenko. He married his wife who was down on Earth while he was in space. And today, yes, they are celebrating a dozen and a decade years after. But beyond this marriage, the question tonight is, what sort of marriage is Nigeria having with its own investors? Because is it a marriage based on love? Is it a marriage based on respect and honor? Or is Nigeria's marriage with its investors based on money? And the evidence shows there's good, and Ayotunde, there's really some bad news. Let's take a look at, within the same charts, good and bad news. Now, here's what I mean. If you take a look at the table in front of you, you can clearly see what has happened in the last 5 quarters. The evidence we have today shows capital imported into Nigeria in the first quarter of this year, $5.6 billion. That is significantly above any of the previous quarters where we had seen a range of between $1.9 to $3.3 billion. The point here is $5.6 billion of capital importation in the first quarter of this year is 67% more than what it was in the same period in the first quarter of last year. So that is the good news. However, right in front of you as well is the bad news. Who is bringing in this capital? We can clearly see the previous trends. 51 to 61%. Previously, that was the range of capital that came in from foreign portfolio investors, pretty much those that were investing in stocks and bonds. But what happened in the first quarter of this year? 92% of all capital that came into Nigeria came from foreign portfolio investors. In simple terms, most of that money is coming in from those that want to buy bonds. Now the question is, why are foreign portfolio investors so crazy about Nigeria's bonds? Ayotunde, 3 words: attractive interest payments. And so the good news is Nigeria is, yes, attracting a lot of capital, significantly more than it had previously done in the last 4 quarters. However, most of this money, short-term funds. Most of this money is coming because Nigeria's bonds, Nigeria's borrowings are paying investors a juicy interest rate. And so, good news and bad news. Can we sustain such payments on the bonds?
Interesting. So let's take it a little bit further now and look at foreign capital, or say flow of capital to other countries in the world, especially in Africa. What can you tell us about that?
There are 3 things I can tell you about that, 3 things that are very important. The first is, last year, the United Nations makes it clear that total capital, foreign capital that went around all countries, $1.5 trillion. Out of the $1.5 trillion, Ayotunde, 6% of that amount came into Africa, point 1. Point 2 is, last year, more than all capital that came into Africa went to one country. More than half of all the capital that came into Africa last year went to Egypt. Point 3 is what makes me worried. What makes me worried is capital coming into Nigeria relative to Africa is on the decline. Now, to make this easier for you to understand, let's take a look at the chart of the week, because we there can clearly see how much money is coming into Africa and how much of that is coming into Nigeria. And if you take a look at that chart of the week, you can clearly see, as at 2020, $40.9 billion came into Africa. 6% of that amount came into Nigeria. 2021, out of all the money that came into Africa, 4% came into Nigeria. But here's what the United Nations tells us. Last year, from their reports, the report shows that $97 billion of capital, foreign direct investment to be specific, came into Africa. $97 billion. How much ended up in Nigeria? Just 1%. And these are the facts from the United Nations. So the concern we're seeing is capital, yes, is coming to Africa, but most of that capital is now no longer coming into Nigeria. It's going to Egypt, it's going to Cote d'Ivoire, it's going to Kenya, it's going to Senegal, it's going to Ghana, and very little finds up in Nigeria. And so perhaps that's why we can clearly now all put it all together, is that the strategy is bring in foreign portfolio investors and attract them with interest payments. Good news, but yet it's bad news.
Bad news. And finally, just before we go, despite these uncertainties, and of course, looking at what you just talked about there as far as Nigeria is concerned, which sectors in Nigeria, are investors really betting on?
Overall, investors are betting on manufacturing and trade. And if you take a look at those numbers, clearly, as at this time, 2014, the amount of capital that came into manufacturing and trade as at 2014 was $1 billion. Now, as at 2024, amount of capital coming into manufacturing and trade in Nigeria, $2.5 billion. We can clearly see that the oil and gas sector, investors are really not betting in it. A decade ago, $200 million was coming into the oil and gas sector. 2024 in Nigeria, capital coming into the oil and gas sector from the report of the National Bureau of Statistics, $5 million. However, what we see a lot of the governors within the Niger Delta, especially looking at some of the statements that the governor of Bayelsa made earlier this week regarding their plans and the overall position of Nigeria. We can clearly see that there's some hope. And if you take a look at his statements, is the governor's position, and that's the governor of Bayelsa, saying an investment in Nigeria is an investment in the beating heart of Africa, a place where innovation meets one of the world's youngest and most creative populations. And in his words, in Bayelsa, we do not seek investors as visitors. We welcome you as a partner in shaping a shared prosperity. So clearly that is coming on the back of real evidence that shows that there's still investment coming into the oil and gas sector, but not as much as it was a decade ago. And yes, we see governors, especially governors in the Niger Delta region, especially like Duyodiri, trying to say they're looking at alternative ways of shaping partnerships within their region. So good news, bad news. Let's not forget, the rain, when it comes, yes, it can be used to make the crops grow, but the rain as well can be used to wash away the crops. So we have to be careful of how we use our rain in Nigeria.
We have to be careful indeed, and of course, they hope the government will take this seriously and look into it as we move on. Well, thank you so much, Babajide Ogunsho, for your analysis, as always.
We'll do this again next week, today.
Definitely. Still ahead on the news at 10. UN ambassadors criticize Israel's plan to occupy Gaza City, with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu defending the move as the best way to end the conflict. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Organized labor in Taraba State says it will not succumb to threats by representatives of the state government to shelve its planned indefinite strike action. The organized labor, under the aegis of the Nigeria Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress, are insisting that the strike will commence 12 midnight. Now, the strike is in response to alleged irregularities by the state's Biometric Data Capture Committee exercise, which excluded some staff and termed them as ghost workers. They accuse the committee of engaging in illegal practices and even faulted the state government for failing to respond to an earlier ultimatum.
Strike is hereby declared to commence from midnight today, 12 p.m., 11 of August 2025. This is because of the government inability to meet up with the demand of the organized labor based on the irregularity with the biometric exercise.
It's a normal thing in labor movement. So we don't bother whether there is a threat or there is not a threat. All we know is we have declared a strike for the welfare of our workers. The Commissioner for Information, Finance, well, as a member of the committee, we are not aware of, because we don't work with the Commissioner of Finance. The person we are working with at the committee. Our problem is the committee, in a normal situation, an ad hoc committee, once an ad hoc committee is set up, it is expected that that ad hoc committee should submit a report. After submitting the report, then after scrutinizing the report by the head of the person who inaugurated that report, then white paper will come out for implementation. That has not been done.
Enugu State Governor Peter Mba has flagged off the construction of a 5,000 shop capacity Nsukka International Market, the first of its kind in the history of the city. Speaking at the ceremony in Nsukka, Governor Mba noted that his administration would take into consideration persons affected by the demolition of Ogige Market to build the Nsukka bus terminal. According to him, the 5,000 shop capacity market has a 4-month completion plan and will be fully serviced with paved roads leading to it.
Enugu Governor Peter Mba arrives in Nsukka to officially launch the new Nsukka International Market, a 5,000 shop complex replacing the old Ogige Market, cleared for a modern bus terminal. Welcomed by cheers and warm support, the governor begins laying the foundation for a project set to transform the region, sparking excitement among the residents.
This market is bringing development to us, and the governor is doing more work, and we are appreciating for more work, and God will strengthen him so that he will do more.
With the help of the governor, we are happy that we are going to have accessible roads and also a good market that will bring promotion and everything.
Stakeholders praised the initiative, pledging continued support for Governor Mba's 2027 re-election bid.
This market will serve the entire zone, so we thank you so much. So I'm speaking on behalf of the zone and saying thank you so much for giving us this international market. What our people don't know is that you are just starting. All we want to tell you, sir, is that we are on ground, we are in charge, and in 2027, Your Excellency, your position is non-negotiable.
The governor promises completion of the project by the end of this year, assuring those displaced by Ogige's demolition first priority in the new market.
For me, what justice and fairness looks like is making sure that those people who were affected, those traders that were affected as a result of the terminal that we had just built, will be given the right of first refusal.
The international market will feature a clinic, a fire station, reliable water and electricity, plus paved road access.
Minister of Regional Development Abubakar Momo is pledging swift completion of key Niger Delta Development Commission projects following President Bola Tinubu's directive. During an inspection in Rivers State, he reviewed progress on vital roads and the Niger Delta Regional Specialist Hospital in Port Harcourt.
Minister of Regional Development Abubakar Momo arrives for a 2-day working visit to the NDDC. He plans to inspect ongoing legacy projects, assess completion timelines, and engage with stakeholders and staff. Joined by the NDDC Managing Director Samuel Obuku and other officials, the minister visited the 2-kilometer Car-Ataba Road project, linking Kona to Andoni. Acknowledging the project's 15-year duration, the minister gives his assurance that it would be completed and opened for use soon.
With the completion of this bridge, the people of Adoni will now have free access to Gokana and also easy access to Port Harcourt. By the grace of God, before we get to the third year of this administration, this project will be fully ready for Mr. President's commissioning.
When we started, we also had to ensure that we do some preliminary tests, because you don't just take over a project that has been abandoned for long. So those process of preliminary tests are delayed. So now all the results shows that yes, this the columns and everything, the structural is so stable enough for us to continue. That is why the contractor has returned back to site.
The inspection team visit Okrika local government area, where the NDDC is building the 3.65-kilometer Borokiri-Okrika road and 3 bridges. Once complete, this vital link to Port Harcourt will ease traffic on the LMA access and cut travel time. At Port Harcourt's Cardiovascular and Orthopedic Hospital, the minister praises the NDDC board for reviving the project, which promises to transform healthcare in the Niger Delta region.
Both contractors have given very firm promises of timeline within which they will complete their different projects. Like this one now has given a maximum of 10 months. Workforce are made available to get this project commissioned.
The NDDC affirms the revamped project is receiving focused support to ensure its timely completion.
Mr. President has given us a charge to complete every legacy abandoned project, and that is why we're interested. If we complete them, definitely it's going to be for the benefit of the people of the Niger Delta, and it's also going to support the healthcare system.
The concept was in 2013, and 2013 till this day is about over 10 years now. And with the advances in technology and equipment, the consultants, engineering team, instructed us to have a mortuary included. And because the equipment is coming at state of the art, there is a reconstruction of sections of the hospital, both wings, to accommodate the new equipment that are coming.
While the minister and NDDC promise swift completion, Niger Delta residents await tangible progress on these legacy projects.
The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede, is reaffirming his commitment to continuously prioritize the welfare and well-being of soldiers and other ranks of the Nigerian Army in order to boost their morale as they work tirelessly to protect the nation. General Oluyede, who made the pledge at the 67th Passing Out Parade of the Nigerian Military School Zaria, Kaduna State, says the Nigerian Army has continued to invest in improving living conditions, welfare schemes, and career development policies for its personnel who form the backbone of the Nigerian Army operations. The Chief of Army Staff was represented at the Passing Out Parade by the General Officer commanding 1 Division.
It is the passing out parade of 191 boys of the Nigerian Military School Zaria, marking the completion of 6 years of rigorous training, which transformed them into disciplined, resilient, and patriotic young soldiers who are ready to contribute their quota to the security of their fatherland. The parade commences with the arrival of the General Officer Commanding 1 Division, Major General Merenso Saraso, representing the Chief of Army Staff, who doubles as the special guest of honor for the event. In line with military tradition, the passing out boys display colorful parades, both in slow and quick march. Those who distinguish themselves during their training are honored with awards. Addressing the graduating students, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede, represented by the General Officer Commanding 1 Division, emphasizes the importance of prioritizing the welfare and morale of soldiers, noting that their loyalty, courage, and excellence cannot be guaranteed unless their welfare is adequately catered for.
The strength of the Nigerian Army rests on its soldiers who form the backbone of our operations. We cannot expect loyalty, excellence, or courage from our men unless we first provide them with the welfare, resources, and the support they need to excel.
The boys receive a congratulatory message for their achievements, which confirms their hard work, resilience, and commitment to the values of duty, discipline, and patriotism.
To the passing out boys, therefore, I offer my heartfelt congratulations to you all. Today is a powerful testament to your hard work, resilience, and unwavering commitment to the values of duty, discipline, and patriotism.
This is my first time witnessing this kind of exercise, and I think as a Nigerian I feel proud of what the young boys have exhibited here in terms of their academic and operational training that they have been able to acquire from this very great and historic institution.
Established in 1954, the Nigerian Military School since its inception has been providing comprehensive academic and military training for boys to prepare them for enlistment into the Nigerian Army as soldiers.
If you're a music lover from the motherland, you'll agree that the global rise of Afrobeats is making waves not just on the charts and concert stages, but also in academic halls worldwide. From American universities to Nigeria's own institutions, the genre is reshaping music education as different societies race to position themselves to take advantage of the genre's boom. Our next report has more.
The rhythm of Afrobeats is not only dominating global music charts, it's now being taught in classrooms. A viral video from Ohio University shows a course dedicated to superstar Wizkid, one of many examples of how institutions worldwide are embracing Afrobeats to prepare students for a booming industry. Back in Nigeria, the birthplace of Afrobeats, the focus is different. Industry veteran Ilbliss highlights a gap in the system. There's no structured pipeline to nurture and produce the next wave of superstars, despite the genre's global success.
A lot of it is really by accident still. A lot of it is still by people just trying out their lucks and hoping to God the music, because now there's a formula for promoting. And since there's a formula for promoting, people can just explode, build a fan base. So it's still quite not encoded. It's not properly encoded yet. We'll get there.
Young Nigerian artists are fighting to break through, often without support from established acts. The struggle to join the industry's elite remains a steep climb.
The thing is, everybody at the top, they don't want to come down. So, and for people, even when they used to say there's a proverb that this sky is big for everybody to fly, but in music it's not like that. So everybody used to cage. Like I used to say, I don't blame anybody. I don't blame anybody at the top that refused to give me access. Because if what I'm going through, if that's what also the person went through, he will put a price on his name.
At the University of Lagos, the Faculty of Creative Arts is taking steps to address this. Professor Olusoji, the Dean, acknowledges the cultural significance of Afrobeats, but admits the department faces challenges in fully integrating it.
Well, with all institutions, the problem of facilities is a major challenge. Although we thank the federal government for providing facilities, but it is still not adequate. We have that challenge of not having enough facilities, space, equipment to go around all our students. And we also have we don't have enough lecturers. We don't have enough. If I say lecturers, it's not just the academic lecturers, instructors, people from town, where they can learn some hands-on experience.
With efforts from Professor Olusoji and his team, the curriculum has been adapted to embrace Nigeria's pop sound, but there's still work to be done to match the global academic momentum.
We have tried to improve our curriculum. For instance,
we are not just doing music now. We are doing music and sound production. Some of our students are interested in that area, commercial music, modern technology used in music. We have some courses that are even African music, something popular music. We are branching out so that all the talents that are in town, our talented students can have something to learn, something that will not make them to be unemployed when they get out of there.
As Afrobeats continues to dominate the world stage, the question remains, will Nigeria build the infrastructure to sustain this cultural export? For now, the beat goes on, both in classrooms, abroad, and at home.
In Benue, 60% of the state's 1 billion naira monthly alcohol and beverage consumption is about to be captured by the state government. This follows the arrival and installation of equipment at the Food Basket Brewery in Makurdi. The Group Managing Director of Benue Investment and Property Company, Mr. Raymond Asemaka, says the project is part of Governor Hyacinth Alia's industrial drive to boost local production, create over 1,500 jobs, and keep revenue in the state.
The Benue state government has taken delivery of 16 trucks carrying brewery equipment now been installed at the Food Basket Brewery site on Boko Road. Alongside existing bread, water, nail and plastic plants, 3 new factories for juice, alcohol and beverages are scheduled to begin production in October.
The population is aggressively growing. Why the output is not there, and the only thing to mitigate and bring people back to business is things that His Excellency is creating, and that's why you're saying that we are moving those 3 businesses, the Food Basket Brewery and the juice factory and the Ben Fruit, all of them they are going to start one day. We are projecting to hire no less than 1,005 across the 3 businesses. So we're just trying to do everything possible to tap into that market. It's a very huge market. And if we are not tapping in, then we are not doing anything. So we are tapping into their market. Even if we have 50 to 60%, we should be able to return within the cash flow within the state.
The brewery's location in Tiomu, near the Benue ethanol plant and new housing projects, is already driving commercial activity, attracting traders, service providers, and residents to the area.
With the nominal capacity of our machines and the brewery, direct labor and direct labor can take up to 500 people, and then that of indirect, which is like the casuals, can take close to 1,000.
With installation progressing steadily, officials say work is on track for the October production date, which is expected to signal a major boost for the local economy and reduce the outflow of funds from the state through imports of beverages and other related products.
Sports news now. The Tigers' historic triumph at the recently concluded FIBA Women's Afrobasket has attracted applauses, recommendations and rewards. This feat was achieved by mostly diasporans of Nigerian descent, which has raised questions on the fate of the local talent and the domestic league.
$100,000 for each player.
Vice President Kashim Shettima rolls out a basket of rewards, cash prizes, national honors, and other incentives for Nigeria's victorious the Tigers squad at a colorful reception in Abuja last Monday. It's the nation's way of celebrating history, a record-breaking 5th consecutive crown at the FIBA Women's Afrobasket Championship clinched just a day earlier. The win takes Nigeria's total Afrobasket titles to an astonishing 7. But here is a revealing detail. Out of the 12 players who lifted the trophy, only Funaya Okoro and Mojanato Musa played in the Nigerian Women's Basketball League before heading abroad. The rest were either born in the United States or started their basketball journeys there. It's a team makeup that has stirred debate over the state and future of the domestic game.
Every time we're going to play competition. We're running to America to grab people to play for us. We must have solid foundation here in Nigeria. If not, we are all these things, winning or not winning, don't make any sense to me. Grassroots is very important because the coaches here are supposed to be working. We are not working.
You can't stop them from traveling, and you can't say because we want to have own people inside. Yes, so they must stay from here. If our best are in Cotonou, we'll use them. If the best are in France, we'll use them.
Back home, basketball struggles with poor league administration and a shortage of quality facilities, raising questions about what becomes of homegrown talents.
A lot of program for the kids. Like now we're having this summer, we're supposed to play a lot of grassroots program, under 12, under 10, on all those things. When I travel, when we go and play there's a tournament called mini basketball for under 7 to 11. If you can start playing at that age, we get there. But it's not that you only depend on national teams at national level. No. Let's start from the grassroots. Let's develop the game here first. And we're going to get there. We have talent in this country.
I think we have to overhaul the federation. Winning the African Championship and not developing Nigerian basketball at home is no progress. It's just having an upstairs without a foundation. So I will advise that we must overhaul Nigerian Basketball Federation.
And so as the champagne cork pops and the applause fades, attention shifts to the home court. The challenge is clear. Build a solid local structure so that the Tigers' winning story isn't just celebrated, but sustained.
In football, substitute Caporal came off the bench to score twice in the final 11 minutes as Angola staged a stunning comeback to beat Zambia 2-1 and jumped to second place in the Group A at the African Nations Championship. The result breathed new life into Palancas Negras' campaign, lifting them to 4 points from 3 games, 3 behind leaders Kenya, while Zambia remained rooted to the bottom without a point after 2 games. Earlier, the co-hosts produced a stunning 1-0 victory over 2-time champions Morocco in Nairobi to remain unbeaten despite playing an entire half with 10 men. Ryan Ogam's 42nd minute strike proved decisive at a raucous Moi International Sports Centre as Benny McCarthy's side defied the odds and Morocco's unbeaten CHAN record to seize control of Group A. And in England, Crystal Palace twice came from behind to stun a new-look Liverpool and win the Community Shield for the first time on penalties after a 2-2 draw at Wembley Stadium today. New signings Hugo Ekitike and Jeremy Frimpong scored for the Premier League champions, but Palace responded through Jean-Philippe Mateta and Ismail Assar before winning an error-strewn shootout 3-2. Mohamed Salah blazed over from the spot, while Alexis McAllister and Harvey Elliott were denied by an inspired Dean Henderson as Palace built on winning their first ever major trophy by beating Man City in May's FA Cup final. Away from sports news, UN ambassadors have condemned Israel's plans of expanding its military offensive in Gaza. During the Security Council meeting on Sunday, the UK, France and other European countries warned that the plan risks violating international humanitarian law. But Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has brushed off their complaints, saying Israel has no choice but to expand its offensive, alleging that Hamas still has strongholds in Gaza City and the central camps. He denied that Israel had a starvation policy in Gaza, attacking global media for publishing images of malnourished children that he decried as Hamas propaganda. Earlier, the Slovenian ambassador Samuel Zboga spoke on their behalf. And the main news again. The Special Prosecution Team of the Interagency Task Force today raided an illegal crude oil dump in River State and arrested 3 suspects. And that's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Ayotunde Balogun. Do have a good night.